crackers, you know, but actually we don't pose the biggest threat to them at the moment. The biggest threat that they have is with the white supremacists, the white separatists, because these are the same Anglo-Saxons that are represented by Adolf Hitlers of the world or the Martin Luthers of the world that will actually go out there and do something to these small hats. So they want to maintain control of us, and they're going to want to really put a substantial heat on the black nationalist community, but that's not going to be their primary focus. Their primary focus is going to be on these white supremacists. So they're going to be giving a lot of leeway to black nationalism as long as those nationalists are not sophisticated and don't understand small hats and Zionism. So if you got a black power group that hates white folks but doesn't understand white nationalism, doesn't understand Zionism and small hatism, then they'll actually get left alone largely by the government so that they can be used to in the pressure cooker to get black people and white separatists fighting. They want both groups of separatists fighting each other. However, in order to solicit major support from black people and the black masses, they're going to show the white supremacists as the major threat to this society, the racist white separatists. And they're going to do the same thing Abraham Lincoln did. And they're going to try to find a Negro, same way they did with Frederick Douglass, to take away the black nationalists who want our own, who are looking now to plot and plan in this time of great turmoil to get something for ourselves. They want to take all the time, energy, resources, and thought and action from black people. And as opposed to having us pull out, let them fight, side with whichever one of them we can side with at the moment that suits our interests, read. And I want to say this, you have to read The Irritated Genie. It's the most important book of our time. For the time that we're heading in, every African on the African continent, every African living in America, every black person on this planet has got to read this book and begin to understand it. And you've got to start studying the Haitian Revolution. This is the greatest of times and the worst of times. The worst of times because there's going to be horrible things happening in the streets. The best of times because of the nature of the calamity and turmoil that's going to occur, opportunity is great. But you have to be knowledgeable, wise, have a plan in place already in the direction you want to go, and comprehend what's coming so that you can make the right decisions. What the small hats are going to do, they already have the magic mulatto in place. So the Christians, and if you start paying attention now, what you'll see is many of these black Christian groups are going out for what they call survival training, learning how to shoot and do all this stuff. They're not doing that to protect black people or themselves or their homes. What is happening is the small hats are preparing black people to assist them in the assault of the separatists. The same way during the Civil War, let me go back over some things that Brother Body Shots and Brother Lewis always talks about. You know, during the years prior to the Civil War, Henry Highland Garnett and many other nationalists were working with, if the numbers are correct, I'm thinking close to 50,000 black people who were going to launch a war for freedom and independence in the South against slavery. Frederick Douglass argued against our people doing that and said we should join folks with the Union and stick with the white folks. And because he successfully argued that, our brothers, instead of going down and fighting their own war, being independent in this war, they joined forces with the Union. Here's the difference. Let's not talk about if you lose, because if you lose, you lose. You lose, you lose. I mean, everybody knows what happens, you lose. Here's the difference. If you win the war as an employee of the cracker or the Union with the whites, then once you won the war, you get nothing. You just won the war. You were a good employee. Now they don't need you anymore after the war, and you back in society without anything. However, if you win, you don't even have to win the whole war. Any battle that you win, even if you only won 3 states of a battle, but you lost to other states, any place that you win in that war, the spoils of war are yours. So every cow, every piece of land, every weapon, every home, every business, anything that you win in war belongs to you now. It's now yours. So what we gave up was the potential for anything. Meaning when we joined the Union Army to free our people from slavery, we did successfully get our people off the plantations. But if anybody who studies history realizes that to a large degree, many of our people were in a worse condition after they got off the slave plantation than they were when they were on a slave plantation. And the same Northerners who asked us to assist them were ones who started murdering black people in the North and killing us all throughout this country when we tried to get into the industrial chase for money and the industrialization of the United States of America, because we had the skills coming out of slavery. We had all of the skilled labor. And those same small hats who solicited our support and tried to recruit us and get us to help the Union win the war turned their backs on us and literally, essentially, slaughtered African people and created permanent class of poverty in the North for black people that was equivalent in many ways to our enslavement in the South. What I'm saying is, yes, we did get off the plantation, but in many ways, our situation didn't get better. If we had fought independently, at the very least, anything we won would have been ours until somebody could take it away from us, which meant there would have been a third force. Those 50,000 men could have been a third force. They could have let the Union and the Confederacy fight like hell until they were bludgeoning on each side, and then they could have sided with either group to say, look, we coming in, but we ain't gonna be nobody's slaves no more. Who needs our help? And they could have sided, pitting against one against the other. They could have bounced around. We could have done some stuff. But because of this sadistic, and I mean, I used to love this guy. Body shots really hurt me with this, but now that I realize what he cost us, I realize he's really the birth of the integrationist Negro in this country. And it's no surprise that it comes from a stinking mulatto. And you got to forgive me for going that strong against Frederick Douglass. I still have a little piece of my heart for him because I know he took that whip from that slave master and whooped him, but I just got to keep it real. You know, you would expect when you study the history of mulattoes, like Dr. Chancellor Williams says, Dr. Clark, there's a few who fight for you, and they fight even harder than a black person with two black parents. So you can't deny them because they're not gonna let you. They're gonna fight harder than most of the black people who have two black parents. But that few is a few. You ain't got to look for them; they'll find you. The masses of the mulattoes are race traders. That's what they are. That's why they created. And Frederick Douglass, being a mulatto, what he done to us, what he did to us in this situation was so sophisticatedly destructive because he created a new paradigm. He was hooked up with small hats. His body shots taught us. You can go up on Ustream, go to Ustream and put in War on the Horizon, and you go watch that body shot lecture, and he shows you how he was hooked up with the small hat female. And basically, he pushed away from us wanting to be Africans and us wanting to be black people who were independent. He fought against all the people, Henry Highland Garnett, later Martin Delany. He fought against nationalism. He fought against us wanting to be independent because he wanted to love white folks and wanted to be mixed in with the white folks under their system. No regard for African independence whatsoever. In fact, he fought vehemently against it, which makes him, many ways, though he helped to end slavery, it makes him causes a great duality because he also fought against African independence. He fought against slavery and he fought against African independence. He fought against both. So he's like a very duplicitous character at best. Well, in the context of the world we live in today, we have a very similar situation. The whites in the South are not going to continue to tolerate this small hat run environment where they put this magic mulatto in office, boasting that he's running this country when really the small hats are running it into the ground. They're going to fight and they're going to start killing people. The small hats want that. They don't have a problem with that. They want that. However, they don't want to be the target of it. So they're going to use Barack to solicit the support of black people to support the fascist regime that's going to come in and eliminate the First Amendment right. Let's understand, as much as we hate these whiteys, if they want to say they hate N-words, long as we ain't around to punch them in the mouth, that's their so-called constitutional right. Not that we believe in it, but if you don't allow them to have it, you definitely know you don't have it either. Well, the objective is, in this situation, is to get us as black people the masses of our people to focus in on the white separatists under the request of Barack Hussein Obama and other Negroes in our community who are going to tell us to fight for Barack Obama. And that's why I'm telling black people, I want you to listen to what I'm saying. Any black person now that's not definitively anti-Obama, you got to watch them, because that's a dangerous person. Because that might be the guy that's going to try to convince, or the woman that's going to try to convince our people to support Obama as what they call the lesser of two evils. So just watch it. I don't know who it's going to be. A lot of people just don't have a better idea of what to do right now. And I'm saying, I don't know who it's going to be. I know what the heck is going on, though. I know that the objective is to get our people invested in stopping the white separatists, and then they're going to turn that in on us and re-enslave us in entirety throughout this country. Because at the same time, the small hats are trying to solicit black support, military support. I mean, militant, go out and kill these crackers support. They're also systematically destroying black colleges and universities so that we don't have the, even though the HBCUs are not producing black people that are helping the black community progress, they are producing what we call a middle class. And what that middle class does is it at least keeps people above water, meaning you have a black person with a job and a home, and they can put their children through school and some basic necessities for you to be afloat, that you could even go to that person and they have some basic skills that they can do something to try to help your people if you get yourself together, as opposed to being completely impoverished. And the only thing you can do is commit crimes in order to survive, which means they can put you in jail and reincarcerate you and re-enslave you. So they're trying to get rid of that middle class because they want to re-enslave us as an entire race. But before they do it, they want to send us in warfare with these separatists. So I want people to understand we're in a very, very, very trying, dangerous time if we make a bad decision. And I'm going to just be honest with you. Every single person, I want you to hear what I'm saying. That's why I said when I started this program, I talked about people not being definitive. This is not time for people who are not definitive. This is not the time for skipping around and skip to the loo, because any of these people amongst us can be the traitor. Because treason is not going to be them understanding. Treason is all of these Negroes out here saying Barack Hussein Obama's black. They're all traitors, even if they don't mean to. It's like the Matrix. They're supporting the agent that's pushing homosexuality on the African world, pushing the destruction of our race. He's the figurehead leading the charge of the destruction of our race, trying to sodomize our sons and daughters. And we have Negroes that are so stupid that they support him, which makes them race traitors. It doesn't matter why they're doing it. Even though they're doing it because they're ignorant. I'm not saying they're active race traitors. I'm just saying nobody should listen to them. And we have to intensify how we look at people. It's not good enough not to have a position on Barack Obama. You got to have a position on Barack Obama because of what he represents, not because of him. I don't care what the people are going to feel when you do it. It doesn't matter, because the people are going to die if they support him. You got to get stronger. We got to collectively become more intellectual and start taking a position. No, that guy's bad for us. He's not even black. He's a mulatto. He's a tool for the small hats. We're not going to support him, so that he can't be used to solicit support from black people to fight against the separatists. Now, why do I say that? The crackers that want to separate from me, I want to separate from them too. I'm not going to separate for long, because I'm going to come back with that boomerang, because they're not going to get away with what they've done. But at least we can socially separate so that we don't have all this conflict and confusion, stop this integration and stuff. Then we can just go to war, because we're going to go to war. That's not going to not happen. Ain't no two ways about it. We're going to war with these crackers, but we need to do it on our own terms, not getting sent to war against these crackers with the promise of nothing when we get it. If we do side with the Obamas, then we need to be siding with the understanding, soon as we win a few battles here and we think that that group is weak, we're going to switch and take their side against the hats and then bring them down. It really don't matter. Whatever we do, we have to do it independently with our own objectives in mind. And what I'm telling you is that your leaders out here, all of them, are very dangerous, because they're not talking out against this guy, which means they're with him. They are complicit traitors. You cannot be, okay, if you made a mistake in the first 4 years, I'll accept that. How you could be a nationalist and a conscious African and fall for this trick, I don't know. Hey, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me,